So this is for both candidates, and we'll start with Ms. Teachout. Very few people have not been affected by cancer themselves, their families, their friends. If elected, will you vote for annual increases in cancer research funding for the National Institutes of Health and the National Cancer Institute?
Thanks for the question. I've personally been affected by this. In the last 2 years, I lost 2 friends, both of whom are under 50. And it's been tough. And I will absolutely support research. I think that we as a society have to support research into these diseases that we can treat. We have to support more research into cancer. We have to support more Alzheimer's research. We have to support research in Lyme disease, which is a real epidemic here. And I really credit Congressman Gibson for his leadership in standing up for saying we've got to actually understand both what's happening and how we can respond to that. I think there's some basic responsibilities that we have as a society to both addressing the illnesses in our society and towards pushing with hope towards progress that we can actually find real solutions and find real cures. I approach things with sort of a let's just get stuff done. I believe in the possibility of progress. That has defined my work. I've always worked in the public interest, and I've always fought for the belief that we can do better. So thanks for the question.
I too agree. Chris Gibson has been a leader in this regard. He is promoting the 21st Century Cures Act, which will spur innovation and discovery and research. He has been in the forefront on the Lyme disease issue. Cancer is something that all of us dread. There's probably not a single person in this room that hasn't had their life or their family's life affected by it. Another disease that is horrific, Mary Fran and I lost her brother just a little over 2 years ago to ALS at 58. And you see the terrible, terrible burden and difficulty that someone and their family lives with going through that. So I am extraordinarily sympathetic to the need for us to pursue research and adequate funding to make sure that we're really attacking this in a meaningful and constructive way. I think, again, this goes back to my point. We have to grow the economy. We will not be the strongest nation in the world, militarily, security-wise around the country, unless we get more economic growth here, because we will not have the money to pay for it. We will not be able to protect ourselves and do all the things we need to do to meet the promises we've made to seniors and veterans unless we get more economic growth. We are stumbling along at a little over 1% GDP annually. We have to grow over 3% if we're going to create the kind of country where we leave something to our children and grandchildren. Right now, what we're doing is we're pursuing generational theft. We literally are spending dollars today and telling our kids and grandchildren, you have to pay for it. So growth, to me, the question on cancer is appropriate. The question on national security, yes, we need it. But unless we get growth in this economy, we're just kidding ourselves. We are not going to be able to meet the needs of our country and the next generations unless we build this economy and grow it faster.
What you have been able to do in Ulster County in growing the economy has been based on a real belief in progress, a support for the independent businesses. And I do hope you review my 7-point plan and come talk to me about it. Because right now, we are not going to grow if we allow a handful of big companies to push out the independent business owners that have the ideas, that have the vigor, that are bringing the energy to our community. We are not going to get that kind of growth we need until we accept that green energy is our future. and that we have to move towards investing in renewable energy, which is healthy for the economy and healthy for ourselves. The leadership that you and Mike Hine and Steve Noble and others have shown here is so important. And I want to bring that spirit to Washington. In my 20 seconds left, I do want to say one area of healthcare that I feel very strongly about, which is the VA and supporting our veterans. I'm so impressed with the work of the Patriots program here, finding beds for our veterans here, and my time is up.
Every single county in the 19th Congressional District has lost population in the last 5 years. New York State has lost 1 million people in the last 10 years. So people are voting with their feet. They're leaving because they can't afford the property tax burden, and they're leaving because young people can't find jobs. And you know what? The solution is not going to come from top-down, socialized government solutions. The solution is going to come at the ground level. And that's why we need a tax system and a reform in the tax system that encourages individual entrepreneurs and investors to take the risks. I don't want the government to ordain what type of economic development should take place. I want a neutral tax system that treats everyone the same and doesn't have the government picking winners and losers, because that's when you get the Cuomo type of corruption in Albany. That's exactly what all this is all about. The corruption comes when the government decides who can make a loan at a bank and who's going to get a grant. That's where the corruption comes in.